In this video, I'm gonna share with you 5 of my best sales interview tips you can use to crush your sales interview and get your dream sales role. These tips are coming straight from my experience working in sales in Silicon Valley. So if you're someone who is applying for a job, trying to break into sales, or trying to advance in your career, make sure you watch this video until the end because you're gonna get a lot of value out of this video. Now, before we get started, my name is Patrick Dang, and make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, it's free, and turn on notifications. And if you wanna take your sales game to the next level, make sure to check out my sales masterclass at saleslegacy.com. Link is also in the description. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, the first tip I have for you is that don't be desperate. So when you are going into a sales interview, right, and you may really want the job because it's your dream job. However, you should not be desperate. You shouldn't show them like, oh my God, please hire me for this job. Nobody will hire me, because you kind of devalue yourself in that way when you act desperate and you show that sense of desperation. So instead, what you want to do is you want to come in more confident, right? Even if you really want the job, don't show that desperate side. Show them that you're interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you, meaning that you're trying to see whether or not you are trying to or you want to work at this company. So how I interviewed in the past when I applied at Oracle and different other technology companies, I had the mindset where I was very confident in myself, even if I didn't have that much sales experience, because I knew that no matter what job I took, I would try my best and I would be a valuable asset for the company. So instead of having the mindset of, oh my God, please hire me because no one's accepting me for a job offer, I had the mindset of like, okay, so I'm confident in myself, I'm confident in my ability to learn and actually do a good job. So I'm actually interviewing you, the company, to see if I want to work with you. Right? It's a completely different way of looking at things. And when you come up from that perspective, people see that you're a lot more confident. You're able to interview a lot more better and fluently, and you're not stuttering on your words because you're interviewing them. It's not just them interviewing you. And so that's how I kind of, gained that leverage for myself and became more confident, especially during my sales interview, even if I didn't have much sales experience in the beginning. Now, the next tip I have for you is you want to be prepared to sell the company's products and services, right? So when you're going to a sales interview, it's not like they're just, interviewing you based on your personality. They want to see your skills and your ability to sell. Even if you don't have that much experience, they want to see what they're working with, right? They want to get a taste before they give you a job offer. So when you're going into the company, make sure you research that company, know what products and services they sell, who their customers are, what pains they solve, and what value they bring into the world. So that when you actually go into your sales interview, you kind of can, do a soft sell or, sell in some way if they did ask you. And typically, during your interviews, whether it's a first round or second round, there may be 2 types of ways they may ask you to sell. The first way is they may ask you to run a discovery call, meaning not necessarily the sales pitch, but how you would run your sales meeting, when you meet a customer or potential customer for the first time. And usually that process is more about, the salesperson asking questions to qualify the customer to see if they are even a good fit. So they want to see how you run, let's say, a 15-minute qualification meeting to move that prospect to the next step. Now, the next step, which is what they may also ask you to do, is to actually sell. So based on all that information and all the pains that you discovered during the qualification phase, how do you actually pitch that product or service, and how do you communicate value, whether it's just talking to somebody or if it's a more formal presentation, which they may ask you to do ahead of time, which you can prepare for. So you want to make sure that you're ready for both running those qualification calls and running an actual presentation or pitch. Now, the next tip I have for you, if you really want to step ahead and get ahead of your competition, is to have some outbound prospecting examples ready to go. So for most sales jobs, if you are entry level, you probably have to, reach out to customers cold and try to cold call them, send them cold emails and LinkedIn messages and things of that nature. So if that is your job, right, if you came into your sales meeting with some examples of how you would do that, that is going to really make you stand out above the rest. Meaning that if someone was like, how would would you, reach out to this customer? And you would say, hey, I actually prepared this ahead of time and I actually wrote a couple sample cold emails of what I would send based on what I know about your company. Then you pull it out your, suitcase or briefcase or whatever you got and be like, hey, you could take a look at my cold email and this is what I would seriously write if I did work for you. Or if, you want to show your cold calling skills, you can kind of say, hey, what we can do is we can do a mock cold call and I'll be the salesperson, you be the prospect, and I'll call you up and we kind of see like how we run it through, right? This is definitely more advanced because you have to be confident in your skills and your ability to write cold emails and your ability to cold call if you want to do it like that and do a mock kind of thing. So it is advanced, but it shows that you're a lot more qualified to get the job versus anybody else. So that's something I would definitely prepare for if you really want to stand out and get a dream role that a lot of people want to get as well. And it's really one way to put yourself above the rest. Now, the next tip that I have for you is that you're gonna want to show conviction on why you want that specific job. So I remember when I applied to some certain jobs where I didn't have much conviction, I was just kind of like testing the waters and being like, yeah, this is what I do and blah, blah, blah. And sure, let me know if I got the job. And obviously when you kind of do it like that, you don't have a high probability of getting the job because you're not showing that conviction. You're not showing that you really want the job and you really want to bring value to this company. So however you're answering all of these questions, my tip for you is to show them that you actually care and you want the job. Don't try to play it cool and be like, oh yeah, I don't really care about this. I got plenty of offers. Don't do that because number one, they can kind of see through the inauthenticity. And number two, it's not acting desperate. It's about showing that you want the job because you think it's a good fit for both sides to work together and you really want to do the work that's required to make this company successful. So however you answer your questions, whatever style you want to do it, make sure there's conviction, especially towards the end of the interview where you're demonstrating and showing like, hey, I really want to work here. Let me know if there's any reason for why I wouldn't be hired because I feel like it's a really good fit for both of us to kind of partner up here, right? So show that conviction because it shows in your tonality, your body language, the words you use. People can feel the difference when someone is ready to go. And that's gonna lead us to our final tip, and that is to don't be afraid to ask why they wouldn't hire you. So this one is quite advanced of an interview technique, but it's very valuable if you can master it. So in an interview, right, usually they're gonna ask you a bunch of questions. You might do a couple mock presentations and sales calls and things like that so they see how good you are. And towards the end of the interview, they're gonna ask you, so Patrick, do you have any questions for us? And you definitely need to have questions for them. But the main question that I usually will ask at the very end of a sales interview, and it's what I recommend all my students, is asking the interviewer, is there any reason for why I wouldn't be hired? Right? You can have different variations of that depending on how you speak and the wording you want to use. But the main step is really, finding the objection of why somebody wouldn't hire you. It's a way of showing your sales skills as well because you're handling the objection on the fly. Now, a lot of people, they are afraid to ask this question because they're afraid that the interviewer might say something negative and they might say, yeah, Patrick, you seem really good, but we don't think you're a good fit because of XYZ, right? Whatever the reason is. And it's okay to get a rejection. It's okay to get a yes. It's okay to get a no, but you don't want a maybe, right? So if somebody has a reason for why they don't want to hire you and you want to work at this company, well, you have to understand, okay, why not? Why don't you want to hire me? What's the reason? Is it because I don't have enough experience? You don't think I'm a good culture fit? Like, what is it, right? Because by understanding what the challenges are and why they won't hire you, you can handle that objection on the fly. So you don't want the interviewer to go back to their team and think about it with the rest of their team and be like, yeah, Patrick was cool, but blah, 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 and I don't want to hire him. Instead, you want to give them a reason to why they should hire you on the spot. So if somebody comes up with an objection, handle that objection right there. And you want to keep doing that until you get to a point where there's no reason for why somebody wouldn't hire you. Right? That's how you handle every single objection until the end. And then from there, you are ready to be hired because you handle all those objections ahead of time. All their doubts and reasons for why maybe they would go for another candidate, well, it's out the window because now you seem like the best candidate because you're willing to have that conversation with the recruiter right on the spot. Now, I know it's unusual for most people, but that is how you show your conviction. That's how you show your sales skills and your ability to handle rejection by showing them and, flexing those skills right in the interview. And so with that said, those are gonna be my best tips I have for you when it comes to crushing your sales interview and getting your dream sales job. So once you use these tips, let me know in the comments if you found it valuable or if you got your sales job, because I'm curious to know how you're using these strategies to find success. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe because it's free, and turn on notifications. And if you're really looking to start and accelerate your sales career and learn how to get hired at top tier companies, you wanna make sure you check out my sales masterclass, Sales Legacy. Link is in the description, so make sure to check that out. With that said, my name is Patrick Dang, and I'll see you guys in the next one.